Hi there, welcome back. Today I'm going to give you the final of 7 essential acting tips for animated characters. If you apply these 7 skills, you'll have amazing results and impact the world of animation in ways you've never even imagined. Please stick around. Jamie Young here. As a professional director, one of the main jobs that I had was to be able to create a world for the characters to live within. During my time studying animation, one of the things that's frustrating to me is that the action that we see the characters doing kind of exists separate from the world and the environment that the characters are living in. I've had that same problem on stage directing a play or a musical. The things that I've learned to be able to overcome those problems will also help you as an animator. So today I give you the final of 7 essential tools that you need to help your characters be much better actors on the screen. Design the action is our 7th skill that I want you to take away from this series. You know, if you look at fashion designers, interior designers, set designers, costume designers, architects, you name it, any of these kinds of design trades, these designers, they don't just provide a drawing, a schematic, or a plan. They consider concepts and motifs, themes, objectives, and meanings that they're trying to convey in whatever their medium is. So you, as the animator, are a designer of action. Yes, there are people in the animation team that are responsible for creating the background, the set that the characters are going to work within. But you also, as the creator or designer of the character, will need to be able to design their action, their reaction, and the relationships that these characters have. So some of the things that can help you with that are to consider environment, mood, the symbolism of objects, transitions from one moment to another. Let's talk about some of those things. So first of all, the environment. If the character is not meshed into their environment, then it really won't complete a whole picture. In other words, if it's really hot outside and we see the background, the bright sunshine and the desert sand and the palm trees, whatever the environment is, and if the character is not sweating and acting as if they're hot, then there's an incongruence there. And so when you design the action, you've got to make sure that you're aware of the environment that's around them. You know, in that same regard, it's always interesting to me to see an elaborate set behind the characters and then they never use it, or they rarely use it. So if there's a table, have them sit on the table. If there's a cupboard to open the door of, let them open the door. Even if it's not scripted in the action, if you look at everyday people, they're not just standing in their environment doing nothing. They are using the environment around them to occupy themselves, to discover something they need, to express themselves. It may even be something as simple as a fork that's sitting on a counter where the character picks up the fork and starts stabbing it down on the counter. That fork, all of a sudden, that fork in the environment, all of a sudden becomes a means for the character to express themselves with. So think about and design your action in regards to the environment. Mood is the other one. Mood is something that you want your audience to feel. You want them to kind of be washed in and drawn into the mood of the moment by moment progression of the story. And so you're needing to design the mood that the characters are experiencing. So you convey that through the character's face, body, and voice, and use some of that variety that we've been talking about in the other videos in this series. Symbolic objects become extremely important as well. So think about the flower that the beast is trying to protect. The moment that last petal falls, then he's permanently a beast. That flower has great symbolism and importance in the character's life. Also think about the shell that Ariel, the Little Mermaid, puts her voice into. That shell is extremely important. It becomes symbolic of something. Anytime you have a symbolic object, it needs to get a lot of emphasis. There needs to be a lot of meaning to it. And it drives the action. And so design action by really tapping into and connecting with the symbolism of different objects. Transitions from one moment to another moment are extremely important. They're like the punctuation in a sentence, in a paragraph. A paragraph is also a transition to another paragraph. Paragraphs are all put into chapters. Chapters are all put into an entire book. Think about the moment by moment, scene by scene of your animation. It is designed specifically in that way for a reason, and you want to be able to make those transitions at the same time that the characters are all the way through. It may seem simple, but it really is very important for you to be able to decide what moment is happening now, and then how that moment changes in the next segment. And so if you can find those transitions, then you're going to really help your audience read not only the words, so to speak, but also read with the punctuation or the structuring that the script and the story is being told in by the characters. So hopefully these things will help you to design the action that your characters are experiencing. Just a couple of other quick notes. You want to be able to identify the conflicts that your characters are experiencing. One conflict resolved leads to another conflict resolved, which leads to another, all the way up until you reach the ultimate conflict, which is called the climax. When the climax occurs, that's when the stakes are the highest and the resolutions that are being sought for either occur or don't occur in the final moments of the film or in the clip, whatever you're designing. And then after that climax, there's a falling of action. The technical term is the denouement. That denouement is the falling of action that occurs after that climax is achieved. So the conflicts, the climax, the falling of action are another thing that you need to be aware of so that you can design it into the action of your character. In other words, the first conflicts that are occurring have an impact on the character, for sure. But the further along in the story we get, the greater impact that those conflicts have, until the point that it reaches the climax of the show, and that's when the character is going to be the most expressive because it's at the highest urgency. And so if you understand that, then you can design the action of your character to match that progression that occurs all the way through the show, and then the falling of action at the end can also be matched by your character's action. So please consciously incorporate all of these elements that we've been talking about into the design of action for your characters. It's been a joy to be able to present this series to you. I want you to remember these 7 essential skills for acting for your animated characters. Creating empathy, moving your character, use more face, choreograph with the audio track, spice up the action, find your character, and design the action. These 7 things will make a huge impact on your animation work and will really draw your audiences in. It will set your work apart from others, and you'll be able to change the world more with your animation. There's so much more detail I can go into about each of these 7 skills. So please do stay tuned. Every week we'll be giving you a little bit more information. Subscribe to the channel and let us notify you by clicking that bell, and we'll be able to keep sending you this information. We hope that it's helpful. It's certainly fun for me to be able to translate my 26-year career of stage directing and acting into the medium of animation. It's some powerful work. I've seen a great impact on other people's animation by applying these simple skills that I'm presenting to you. So thank you again for joining us. Please continue to break a leg.